कल्पतरुभ्यश्च सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण। प्रभुपाद की जय। So we saw last time Arjuna's doubt. Arjuna is asking how to identify Astita Pragya. What are his bodily language? What is his speech? How does he sit? How does he walk? Stita Pragya Saka Bhasha, 54th verse. स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्तस्य केशव स्थितघ्निकिं प्रभाषेत किमासीत ब्रजेत. Now, how to identify a person who has a fixed intelligence? Sthitapragyasya was in the previous verse, that is the 53rd verse. Krishna says a person has to come out of all these Vedic revelations. He should not be influenced. Sthaisyati nischala. That means he should have unmoved intelligence. Samadhav achalaha. He should be always in the transcendent consciousness, achalaha, unflinching intelligence. So then how to identify a person who has such type of intelligence? What is his bodily language? So 55th verse speaks about what is his body language. He is always satisfied. His mind is satisfied. That is why he feels the satisfaction. He is satisfied. That is why mind is also feeling the bliss. So the mind is purified, you can say. So when the Atma is purified, or when a person feels that purification, when the mind is satisfied. Mind is satisfied when the mind is always absorbed in thinking about Krishna. In the same way, now mind is purified when the Atma understands its constitutional position. So in this way, both are interconnected. Atma and mind, you can say, purified to each other. They both are purified when they both understand their constitutional position. Atma understands the constitutional position, and mind is always focusing in remembering Krishna. So this is the body language. He's always satisfied. He's always in bliss. How is his speech? So last time we saw 56th and 57th verse that he is not disturbed. Even in dukkha, he is not disturbed. Even in sukha, he is not attached. So in both the situations, he knows how to speak. If dukkha is there, he says, what can be the biggest misery than the separation from Krishna? And sukha is there. What can be the biggest sukha than chanting the holy name of Krishna? And then if some misery comes, he says, oh, it has come in a small way. It has to become, it should have come in a big way because I'm such a simple person. But because Krishna protects me, Krishna is so merciful, it went in a small way. And if sukha is there, oh, I'm not qualified to get such happiness. So he knows how to speak in the situations. In both the situations, Shubha, Ashubha, in 57th verse, you see Shubha, Ashubha. In the praise, somebody is criticizing him, somebody is praising him. In all the situations, he is just fixed in perfect. The next question is, like, Ka Bhasha we have done, Ki Bhasheta we have done. Ka Bhasha means body language. Ki Bhasheta means what is his speech. Kim Asita. Kim Asita. How does he sit? There are two meanings. One is gross meaning. How does he sit? How will you identify? Somebody sitting, will you identify is having a Sita Pragya, the fuse of intelligence. How does he sit means how does he disengage his senses in the material life? So the example is given about a tortoise. You sat on a big rock and suddenly the rock started moving. Then you realized it is not a rock, it was a big turtle, a tortoise on which I sat. So sometimes the tortoise winds up its limbs and it appears like a rock. So, how to disengage the senses when it comes to utilization in material life? How to disengage one's senses? There is a meaning. That is the meaning is what? Kim Asita. So example is given about 58. 58 verse speaks about Kurma. Kurma means tortoise. Then 59th verse is also the answer. Then 60, 61 till 60. 58 to 61 is the answer for Kim Asita. Yada samharte chayam urmunganiva sarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyah tasya pragya pratisthita. Pragya pratisthita. Pragya means intelligence. Pratisthita means fixed up. So a person who has fixed up intelligence, yada samharte chayam, like how samharte winds up, in the same way he also does. How like tortoise. Kurmaha angani. Iva. Iva means like. So this person whose intelligence is fixed up, he's like a tortoise who winds up his senses. Sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhya. When it comes to utilizing the senses for sense gratification, immediately what he does, he winds up his senses. Like the devotees are told, come to five-star hotel. We'll feed you the best of the best non-vegetarian items. The best of the best uh, onion garlic items. And say pranam. We don't want. Senses are there, sense objects are there. A person whose intelligence is fixed up will not do it. Now all the devotees they went to the movie. But when it comes to the movie where Bollywood films are there, the same devotees they don't have any interest. They are not interested. But when it comes to utilizing the senses for gaining spiritual knowledge, yes. Now you are sitting here learning. You could have watched TV, but no, you have shut your eyes. That means from the sense gratificatory things, you are trying to pull out your senses. We are just winding up your senses. So a person whose intelligence is transcendentally situated or fixed up, he winds up his senses from the sense objects. Okay. So Gauranga read. Whenever you are missing a class, what you can do is you can hear to the video. Okay? Recordings.
Okay. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत् मत्पर वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. Purport: that the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, a great sage Durvasamuni picked a quarrel with Maharaj Amrisha, and Durvasamuni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful a yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18 to 20. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo Vachamsi Vaikunta Gunanu Karau Harer Mandira Marjana Dishu Shrutim Chakara Chuta Satkatodaye Mukundal Laya Darshane Drisho Tadvritya Gatra Sparshen Sangamam Granam Chatatpada Saroja Saurabe Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite Padau Hare Kshetra Padanusarpade Shiro Shikesha Padabivu Bivandane Kamam Shada Dasye Natu Kama Kamyaya Yatottama Shloka Janashraya Rati. King Amrish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the
One
form
minute.
of the Lord, his body in
You are
touching the
reading from where? 1 minute. You are reading from which verse? Because that went in 50, 60 first. You have to read 58th verse.
58.
Yeah, purport of 58. You have finished that?
No,
Oh,
Mataji missed, I guess. 58 you have to read, Gaurang.
okay. Sorry about it. यदा संहरते छायं कूर्मो कूर्मोऽङ्गानिव सर्वच इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as a tortoise draws its limbs from within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Purport: the test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do nots and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do nots, restricting oneself from the sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. The best example set herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purposes. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna conscious persons are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord instead for his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise, who keeps the senses within. Hare Krishna.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. So, how to have a higher engagement? There's a book known as Higher Taste. Prabhupada has given Higher Taste. That means the person who gives a lower taste automatically goes to higher taste. So then, Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehina. So if a person restrains himself, Vishaya Vastu, from the objects of sense enjoyment, how Niraharasya Dehina, by negative restrictions. But still the taste is remaining. You may give up something. Like when you are sick, the doctor tells you, you don't take this chocolates. Okay. You've given up chocolate for some time. The taste of chocolate is there. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. By negative restrictions, the taste does not go. The attachment does not go. So that is why what has been told, rasa varjam, rasa api asyaha. So giving up the taste, the sense of enjoyment, but still that taste is there. But then what to do? Go to a higher taste. Param drishtva, then automatically nivartate. He ceases from the lower taste. You give a higher taste, automatically lower taste will go away. See, once the devotees start coming to temple, take prasadam, automatically the lower taste goes away. Even though a person may be forced to take in the hotels, he will not get that taste because he's taking higher taste. When that higher taste is there, lower taste will go away. Like you cannot tell the child, give me the knife, don't hold it. The more you will try to snatch, the more tighter the child holds. Instead of that, if you really want to remove the knife from the child's hand, what you have to do? You have to substitute it with something wonderful thing. So automatically it gives up the knife and takes to some doll or something. So that means you give something higher, lower things will go away. That is what is given. Because yada samharti chayam, how to disengage the senses, engage it in a proper way. Like somebody is told not to see TV so much, should not see television so much, but you should not see, waste your time. But the mind is so obstinate, that is very stubborn, that what you are told not to do, the same thing will be doing. If you tell no, don't do this, the mind is stubborn. Na? Instead of that, you give something higher engagement. If the children are told don't see TV, they'll see more TV. Instead of that, give some higher engagement. Buy some nice game, play with the child, sit with the child, give them story. Automatically, lower things will go up. Okay. Sonal, right?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Shlok number 59. विषयाविनि वर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. Translations and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Purport. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, etc., is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. Hare Krishna.
Mhm. So when higher taste is there, automatically lower taste goes away. Next. यततोऽपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ते प्रसभं मनः. यततोऽपि कौन्तेय. So while endeavoring, he certainly, api in spite of, Kaunte, son of Kunti, Purushasya of a man, Vipaschitaha, full of him, full, full of uh, full of discriminating knowledge, Indriyani, the senses, Pramathini, agitating, Haranti, through, Haranti through, Prasabam, by force, Mana, the mind. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Even a man of discrimination, senses are very strong. The example is given of Vishwamitra and Menaka. Vishwamitra was a great sage. He was meditating. And whenever some sage is meditating with a great sincerity, Indra is always in anxiety. Then Indra sends Apsara. So Menaka is sent to disturb Vishwamitra. And yes, Menaka succeeded. That means a man of discrimination is also carried away by the mind. And why the mind is carried away? Because the senses are so strong that carry the mind, even of the person who has discrimination, or who is trying to control them. That is why controlling by our own ways will not be so successful than engaging the senses in Krishna's service. One is controlling by negative restrictions. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. One is engagement. Give higher engagement. You see, small children also, they come to temple. Young boys, young girls, they come to temple. Now see, Gaurang is studying. That means higher taste, higher engagement is there, automatically lower engagement goes away. If you give negative restrictions, then what will happen? It will only last for some time. Afterwards, the taste is there. The sensory tastes are there. The sensory taste will not go. If you have higher taste, automatically easy to control the mind. Now, Yamanacharya, who is the preceptor of Sripad Ramanacharya. So Yamanacharya, a great saint and devotee, he says, Yad avadi mama cheta padara vinde, Yad avadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde, Nava nava rasadam yudgatum rantumanse, Tad avadi batan nari sangame smaryamane, Bhavati mukha vikara shushtu nishtivanam cha, Yad avadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde. Mama Cheta, that means that my consciousness be always focused in Krishna. When I'm always remembering Krishna, Nava Nava Rasa Dhamni, I experience new rasas, new taste. So when I remember Nari Sangame Smaryamane, I remember this association of a woman, I spit at that thought. Bhavati Mukha Vikaraha Sushtu Nishtivanam, my face turns from it and I spit at that. So why the mind is engaged in a higher activity, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna. That is what is given. Okay, Priyari.
Hare Krishna. Yatato api kaunteya purushasya vipichashchita indriyani par amarthini haranti prasabham manam. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination, who is enduring to control them. Purport. There are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses. But in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material senses, enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Even Vishwamitra, a great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment. Although the yogi was endeavoring for sense control with severe types of penance and yoga practice. And of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot cease such material engagements. A practical example is given by Sri Yamunacharya, a great saint and devotee, who says, Yad avdi mama cheta Krishna padharavinde navanavarasa dhamanya udayatva rantum asit tat avadi batanari sangame sammaryamane bhavati mukha vikaraha shushtu nishchitavanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. Krishna consciousness is such a transcendently nice thing that automatically material enjoyments becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaj Ambarish also conquered a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. Savai mana Krishna padharavindhur vachansi vaikuntha punanu varnani. Hare Krishna.
Next. यानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य. Whoever has controlled the senses, tani means those senses, Sayyam has controlled. How? Yuktaha, by engaging. Asitaha. So he is matparaha. That means he is situated in relationship with me. That is why he has controlled the senses by engaging the senses in service to me. And that is how Vashe, he, yes, Indriyani, he has completely subjugated the senses. Vashe, Vash means what? Completely in control. Then in this way, that person, his intelligence is fixed up. So he is able to subjugate his senses by engaging the senses. Yukta. Yukta is the word. And he is my matparaha devotee. What is the meaning of matparaha? Oh, in the purport, very nicely it has been given. Shri Baladev Vidyabhushan writes, matparaha. Mat means mad bhakti. Just take that much. Mat. Mad bhakti, then para प्रभावेन मद्भक्ति प्रभावेन सर्वेन्द्रियः विजय पूर्विका स्वात्मदृष्टि सुलभेति भाव. Is there in the purport. Last paragraph. मद्भक्ति प्रभावेन सर्व इंद्रिय विजय पूर्विका. That means he has controlled his senses because of the prabhava, influence of my devotion. मद्भक्ति प्रभावेन सर्व इंद्रिय विजय पूर्विका. Then what happens when he has controlled the senses? Swatma drishti sulabheti bhav. Swatma is able to understand his self. He is able to recognize his position. Swatma drishti, swa-atma. Swatma drishti, drishti means understanding. Swatma drishti sulabheti. Sulabha means becomes very easy to understand one's constitutional position. Sulabheti bhav. So that is how, by engaging the senses in my service, he is a matpara devotee. So in the purport about Ambarish Maharaj is also given. Ambarish Maharaj says first focus the mind, because at the level of mind everything happens. Even you want to beat somebody, first you have to get anger, and that anger comes at the level of mind. You become angry, then you say, let him come, I'm going to give him a punch. All these things first at the level of mind. Then the senses, they are employed in the service of the mind's order. Like you are sitting with your stupid vada pav, okay? And then in the other table, the sizzlers have come. You know the sizzlers, they make sounds. So then you are sitting with something like pakodas. you are you are looking at other's plate. Before he has eaten, actually you have eaten. That is why it is said, you don't look at others' plate. You see your own plate and eat. Because at the level of mind, there is a subtle sense. The senses, they eat first. Like the senses think a lot. At the level of mind, the ears are able to hear, ears are able to hear those words which were spoken some 2 days before. That means you're remembering, na? Somebody called you fool. And you're able to remember it at the level of the subtle senses. You're able to hear those words. Oh, he spoke like this. Now he's not speaking. Na? Now you are not hearing. It was accumulated. In this way, there are impressions which has been accumulated from the past previous lifetimes. Sometimes we are able to experience it, but we are not able to exactly relate it because we have forgotten our past. But our behavior is sometimes very abnormal because it is all relating to our past life impressions. That is why the solution is given. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. If your mind is focused in Krishna, naturally what will happen? Your tongue will speak about Krishna. Vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane. You will do gunanuvarnane. Guna varnana. You will glorify Lord. Karau harer mandira marjana dishav. You use your hands for cleaning the temple. Shrutim chakara chuta satkatodaye. You have to memorize all these. Huh? Your ears will be used for hearing about Lord. Ask Jumur to join Haribol. Ask Jumur to join. My grandchild, no? She chants the whole verse. So beautifully she chants this verse. Ask Nair Manjari to chant. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drishau. So eyes should be employed in seeing the beautiful form of Krishna. Bhakti Shastri class. Yeah. Tadvritya Gatra Sparshanga Sangamam. So you use your skin in touching the raja of the lotus feet of devotees. Granam cha tatpada saroja saurabhe. Use your nose for taking the fragrance of the flowers which is offered to Krishna. Srimat tulasya rasanam tad arpite. Rasanam tad arpite. Use the tongue in taking tulasi. Adau hare kshetra padanusarpane. Use your feet to go to Hari Kshetra. That means go to temple. Shiro Rishikesha Padabhivandane. Use one's head in bowing down to Lord. Kamam cha dasye natakama kamyaya. Make Nayana Manjari chant this verse, Jagatanvaya. Let my desire be the only desire to serve Krishna's desire. Yatottama shloka janashraya rati. Then a person can be said, yes, he has that rati. Open the video. You can chant this verse. Chant.
Savaimana Krishna Padada Vindayor Vacham Sivai Kuntha Gunanu Varnane Taror Hare Mandira Marjanadrishav Shrutim Chakara Chuta Satkatodaya Mukundalinga Lay Darshane Dishav Tadvitya Gatra Sparasenga Sangamam Granam Chatatpada Saroja Saurabhe Srimad Tulasya Rasanam Pratarpite Hare Kshetra Padabhivandane पदानुसल्पने शिरो ऋषिकेश पदाभिवन्दने कामं च दास्यं न तु कामकामया यथोत्तमश्लोकजनाशया रतिः.
Very good, wonderful.
वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Okay. Our class is still going on. Okay.
Okay.
You can unmute now. Hare Krishna. She is 6 years. Now she is going to become 7. She has chanted, she has memorized this whole verse. It's a difficult verse to memorize. Just because the previous Bhakti Shastri, she has been attending Bhakti Shastri with her mother at the age of 3 years itself. The youngest Bhakti Shastri student. Before everybody, she will chant the verse. This is a beautiful verse and we should memorize this verse. How to employ all the senses in Krishna's service. So for that the solution is given Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vinda Yoho. Okay. Anupama read.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत् मत्परः वशे हि यस्योन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. Purport. That the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaja Ambarisha, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful as Yogi as a sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sages' injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18 to 20. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor vachamsi vaikuntha gunanu varnane karau harer mandira marjanadishu shutim chakarachuta satkathodaye mukunda lingalaya darshane drisho tadbhritya gatra sparshenga sangamam घ्राणं च तत्पाद सरोज सौरभे श्रीमत् तुलस्या रसनां तदर्पिते पादौ हरे क्षेत्र पादानुसर्पणे शिरो हृषीकेश पादाभिवन्दने कामं च दास्ये न तु काम काम्याय यथोत्तम श्लोक जनाश्रय रति. King Ambarisha fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue is tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara devotee of the Lord. The word Matpara is most significant in this connection. How one can become Matpara is described in the life of Maharaja Ambarisha. Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana, a great scholar and Acharya in the line of the Matapara remarks, Mad Bhakti Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Swatma Drisha Sulabheti Bhava. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than Vishnu simply waste their time in vain search after some phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of the real yoga.
Seconds. Now 62nd and 63rd, they are called ladder of fall. Now suddenly you see, these two verses are included. Kim Asita became Kim Prajeta. That means how is he going to walk? Kim Asita, okay, he's disengaging the senses. Very good. Or engaging in a proper way. Prajeta means engaging in a proper way. Asita means winding up. But in between these two things, there is something known as thought process. You disengage, but if you don't do engagement, there will be always a thought process. And that thought process is the cause of our downfall. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषु प्रजायते सङ्गा सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहः स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिर्भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. What happened? Thought process. I gave up, but still my thought is there. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. So I am just thinking about how to enjoy. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. Then when my dhyanam goes there, I feel like to associate. Sangasteshu pajayate. And then because of that desire, sanga sanjayate kama. This kama, that means the desire is becoming more intense. I want it. If I don't get it, krodha, kama krodho vijayate. And then that krodha, what happens? Krodha bhavati sammoha. That krodha illusions our mind, illusions us. Sammoha, sampurna rupena moha. Bewilders us. And in this bewilderment, we forget our constitutional position. Smritir Brahmshat Buddhi Nashaha. In this way, the Buddhi becomes Nasha. Just because the thought process. Now, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayoho has been given by Ambarish Maharaj. If I don't focus in serving Krishna, I will try to focus in serving my senses. My senses may desire many things. And why that happens? Because Dhyayato, my whole thought process is in that Vishaya Vastu. It can be at the level of tongue, it can be at the level of ears, it can be in the level of eyes, whatever it may be. Every senses has a sense object. And if I engage in that sense object, then that whole thing will lead to sarvanashaha. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Pranashyati means it is the complete downfall. That is why after these two verses, Krishna says how to engage the senses. Brajeta. That Brajeta has been given from 64th verse. 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. To extend, yeah. Okay. So 62 and 63. Bridget Prabhu, please read.
Text 62. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषु पजायते सङ्गात् संजायते कामात् क्रोधो विजायते. Translation. While contemplating the object of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Purport. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. In the material world alone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of the senses of objects. And the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridasa Thakura was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, but Haridasa easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyments due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. One who is not there for Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail. For the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Translation. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Purport. Srila Rupa Goswami has given us this direction. प्रपञ्चिकाताय बुद्ध्या हरिसम्बन्धि वस्तुनः मुमुक्षुभिः parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.258. By development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everyone has its use in the service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. Their so-called renunciation is called falgu, or less important. On the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become victim of material consciousness. For example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the absolute being impersonal cannot eat. Whereas an impersonalist tries to avoid good eatables, a devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. So, after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee takes a remnant called prasadam. Thus, everything becomes spiritualized and there is no danger of a downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non devotee rejects it as material. The impersonalist therefore cannot enjoy life due to his artificial renunciation. And for this reason, a slight agitation of the mind pulls him down again into the pool of material existence. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Both the verses you read, na?
Yes, Maharaj.
So there, see Rupa Goswami, what he says. प्रापंचिकतया बुद्ध्या हरिसंबंधी वस्तुनः मुमुक्षुभिः परित्यागो फल्गुवैराग्य उच्यते कथ्यते. Everything is prapancha. This is prapancha, that is prapancha. So what happens? Yeah. But this fall down is not compared here. Bharat Maharaj's fall down should not be compared here, because though his dhyanam was in taking care of the deer, but he did not have this type of fall down. This fall down is a materialistic fall down. The engagement is not there. Harival, I'll do that. So prapanchikateya buddhya hari sambandhi vastu. Thinking everything is prapancha, this is prapancha, that is prapancha. And then giving up even hari sambandhi vastuna. When a prasadam is given, the person says, oh, this is food. This prasad. And then he thinks that, oh, why should I take this? So like this, even hari sambandhi vastuna is looked with material consciousness. That is why that is Falgu Vairagya. Okay. So now next is how to engage the senses. Ragadvesha vibhuktaistu vishayan indriyais charan. Charan word is charati. Charati. How does he walk? Atmavashir videyatma prasadam adhigacchati. Ragadvesha vibhuktaistu. Raga, dvesha, vishesha rupena muktaistu. That means completely free from attachment, detachment. Vishayan indriyeshcharan. That means the indriya, which is engaged in the sense object. In your senses, with sense objects will be there. Your eyes are there, then sight is there. You cannot just close the eyes and walk. If eyes are there, sight is there. But one should walk without attachment and detachment. That means one is coming in contact without attachment and detachment. That means neither hatred nor attachment. Because attachment and hatred, they are the opposite sides of the same coin. One is positive attachment, one is negative attachment. There is a come out of both. Atma Vashir Videyatma. Keep yourself in control by following the regulative freedom, Videyatma. The freedom is given, but it is with regulation. You say, what is this? The regulated freedom. Yes, you're allowed to go on the streets provided you are following the traffic rules. Then you are a free bird. When you say you are a free India, free bird, that doesn't mean that you just go on breaking the rules. Then you will put inside the bars. Then. So regulated freedom means you are using the freedom with complete responsibility. Then that person, prasadam adhigachati, he is fit to receive the mercy of Lord. Prasadam. Generally we say prasad means something eatable is known as prasad, or which is offered to Lord is known as prasad. Prasad means mercy. Mercy can flow in the form of teachings. Mercy can flow in the form of association. So engage the senses with the sense objects without attachment and without detachment. Follow the principles of freedom, regulatory principles of freedom. We are in Chandrapati Prabhu, if you are free, you can read. You are not read. Read. You are free, Prabhu. The voice is unheard. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
64th verse. Yeah,
You can
we are
hear
able
now.
to hear.
Yeah.
Able to hear. Read.
2.64. Ragadvesha. You can. Sorry?
Read,
Yeah.
read.
Ragadvesha vimuktastu vishayan indriyascharan atma vaishir vide atma prasadam adhigachati. Translation. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process. But unless the senses are engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. Although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the sensual plane, because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. And if Krishna doesn't want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to sensual platform. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो याशु बुद्धिर्पर्यवतिष्ठते prasade sarvadukhanam. What happens when a person gets prasadam? Anna prasad, association prasad, bhakti prasad, guru prasad. Prasade sarvadukhanam. Hani rasyopajayate. Automatically, hani, it destroys all the material miseries. Pajayate. Prasanna chetaso yashu. His chetana is experiencing prasannataha. Buddhir paryavitishtate. In this way, the intelligence becomes fixed up. Now see, till now about the fixed up intelligence has been spoken. Who is a person who has fixed up intelligence? Ultimately, it boils down to what? One who achieves the mercy of Krishna has fixed up intelligence. This line speaks about a person who is a person who is eligible to get this fixed up intelligence. Only when he is getting Krishna's mercy, then only his intelligence becomes fixed. He knows how to sit, he knows how to walk, he knows how to talk, he knows how to behave, everything. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयत शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. If the buddhi is ayuktasya, is not connected, na cha ayuktasya, is devoid of Krishna consciousness, then na abhavah tah shanti, he will never experience happiness. If he doesn't have happiness, where is the question of, if he's not, he will not experience the peace, bhavana, peace. If he is not experiencing the peace, shanti, then he can never experience happiness. So if your mind is not connected to Krishna, senses are not connected to Krishna, intelligence is not connected to Krishna, then there is no possibility of peace. When there is no peace, no happiness. Okay. Roji, read the two verses and then this is the last now. 65, 66, read Chandrapati Prabhu and then read the purport. We have to stop. Read Prabhuji. Read the goal. Okay, Sonal, you read.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Text number 65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajaayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhihi paryavatishthate. Translation by His Divine Grace the Bharat Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. Text number 66. Nasiti buddhirayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayatah shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. Translation. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Purport. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the fifth chapter, 5.29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested, peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay. We stop here. Any questions? So we'll continue on Wednesday. Wednesday, yeah, I can do it on Wednesday, not a problem. I think it is Ganesh Chaturthi is there. I have some.
Mataji, can we postpone that lecture because of Ganesh Chaturthi?
Actually, I have DT worship course. I will take the course 4 to 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Let me see. If I'm not able to take that day, I will take it on Friday. So Friday 8 to 9 program. Is it okay? Friday? Or you have your physics class?
In the morning, Mataji?
Hmm?
Is it in the morning? Friday morning?
Friday evening.
Your
Friday
time in
evening.
the morning, his time in the morning, Mataji.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay. If it is not on Wednesday, it will be on Friday. Okay. So they see that. Mostly it will be on Wednesday only. I'll try to do it on Wednesday. But if it is not on Wednesday, it will be on Panchakal. पतितनं पावनेभ्यो विष्णुवन्दे की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Gautam, end the class. या मुझे होस्ट बना.